Okay, folks, thank you very much for joining here today. Let me get started here. I'm hoping that everybody can see the shared screen with the basketball on it. So, as I said before, my name is Aaron with West San Jose Basketball NJB. Currently serving as the president of the board. I just wanted to have this meeting to go through kind of some of the changes of the season, some of the new things we'll be dealing with, and then also, obviously, we didn't have a season last year because of the pandemic. So just kind of remind some of us that are familiar with NJB, what the rules are, and what we should expect from the season. So. If you have questions about anything that we go over, I am recording this, and I will upload it to the website for West San Jose. If you have any questions about anything that we go over tonight, or I go over tonight, you can check out the website. We also have a Facebook page that you can follow us on that. We do post everything that goes on the website on that Facebook page. If you have any questions, specific questions, you can email president@westsanjosenjb.com. I will ask, for the purpose of this, I'm going to go through everything very quickly because I know it's late at night. We all have children and everything. I'm going to ask that we hold the questions until the end of the presentation. So if you want to just jot down your question as we're going through something, we can do that. And then obviously I can take questions offline if there's something specific to your situation as we go. So West San Jose, so NJB itself is a national organization. It has been around for, I think, a few decades. It really started in Southern California and has branched out. The Northern chapter has been around for a couple of decades as well. West San Jose is one of the chapters that is involved in NJB. We have to sign a charter agreement, a chapter agreement, to participate in the chapter. So it's not an individual league. We do have to follow the rules and regulations that are set by the chapter. Here on the top right, you can see Silicon Valley NJB. That is the section office for Northern California. All of the rules that we follow as West San Jose chapter come from this section office. They do multiple multiple seasons throughout the year. They have a spring league, they have a summer session, but their largest by far is their winter league. And the winter league is the only league that West San Jose participates in. So most of our players play school ball. A lot of our players play AAU, and play other sports. And so the sport that's always worked best for West San Jose, and the sport that draws in the most players, is the winter season, which is the one that we're going into now. So again, we set rules within this chapter that we follow, but there is a full book of laid out that we have to follow or stay within the guidelines of, and that is set by the national office and also by the section office here. So if you ever have any questions about how the league is run, those kind of administrative things, you can go to that Silicon Valley website. You can also contact their office. They are located kind of in the West San Jose area, so sometimes there's a little confusion between our group and theirs. We're not affiliated, but they can help you with questions or things that are going on. What I'm going to cover very quickly in this meeting here is listed here: COVID protocols. So I'll show you a little bit of the calendar. I'll discuss the changes for this year, as well as the how we're going to form the teams, and then some other things at the end, and question and answer session. We'll save a little time for that. But again, I'm going to go very quickly through this. I will, we'll post this these slides on the website, as well as this presentation We'll post that on the website as well. So our COVID protocols, we strongly encourage all participants here, 12 and older, to be vaccinated. That it's players, that's coaches, people that might volunteer for other aspects of the program, folks that are coming to watch their children. We're not going to require anyone to be vaccinated, but we are going to strongly encourage it. The section office, Silicon Valley NJB office, is currently going through setting their COVID protocols that will apply to the league itself. So obviously we will adopt those protocols when they come out. We also have to follow, the county protocols, Santa Clara County and such. We have to follow those. Those are really specific to the gyms that we use and practice in. So, obviously the way the county goes, the way our access to gyms go. What we can say for sure right now is that everyone will absolutely be required to wear a mask at all times if they're participating in an activity related to NJB, West San Jose NJB. So if you're at practice, if you're watching practice, if you're at one of our evaluations, if you're at games, wherever it is, players, coaches, everyone will have to, will be required to wear that mask. So we have a full calendar on the website, and this is just a couple of highlights. If you have specific questions about the full calendar, you can go check that out. Just as a reminder, if you can keep your phone on mute or keep your computer on mute as we're going through this, that would be great. So we have a couple of dates that I just wanted to highlight here. We're doing our evaluation session a little bit later this year, and it's really just because of gym availability. So essentially, we're going to do everything in a week as far as putting the teams together, working on an actual workout schedule for the grade levels as we go, and we'll post that schedule within the next week or so, so everyone is familiar with it. But you'll see October 25th to 31st, we'll go through that process of forming the teams. November 1st, practices will start for everyone except rookies and high schoolers. And then our rookie evaluations will be a little bit later on. We'll have a free throw-a-thon, which we'll talk about. All the teams will participate in that. And then also the length of the season. The season starts December 5th. For most teams, the season will end the second or third week of February. Really depends on how you do. There are some teams in which we'll have to give them games outside of the league, and I'll discuss that with those teams when the time comes around. And then if you make the playoffs, your season will be extended as well. So let's see. If you're, I think I go wrong. Go back to slide. So, if you're trying to figure out which level your child is going to play, or if you want to sign them up for NJB at all, the levels of play that we're going to offer this year are a little different. Just on the division side, everything else should look pretty familiar if you've played before. We're going to offer a rookie program, an all-net program, competitive division, recreational division. These two items are new, and then next level prep. And I'll go through all those here now. The first question you have to ask yourself before going for our program is, do you live in the boundary? You have to live in the West San Jose boundary in order to participate in one of our teams. The locations and the map is on the Silicon Valley website. There's also a link on our website that shows from a map perspective, but you can also see from these descriptions here. If you live in Cupertino, Campbell, Viso, Milpitas, these San Jose zip codes. If you live in these areas, then you automatically, would fall into our program, and you can try out for one of our teams or practice, be evaluated by one of our teams to join. If you don't live in one of those areas, then you'll have to get a waiver. And so we see a lot of players from the Los Gatos chapter because the addresses are close to each other. And so any player who wishes to play with West San Jose will have to request a waiver from their home chapter. Most chapters will require you to register with them and go try out for their teams, if that's what you're going to do, particularly if you're looking to play all net. You'll have to go and try out for their teams. Then they decide that they don't want to take you, and then you can then receive a waiver from them to come play for West San Jose team. We do the same thing here. We have players that live in our district, but for whatever reason they go to school in a different district. They want to play with a different team, so we provide them waivers to go to different teams. It's really up to the chapter how difficult and how much of a headache it becomes. I think a lot of chapters now are a little slow on registrations because of the pandemic. People are not signing up in the huge numbers that we're used to and as quickly as they used to. And so I don't know how the waiver process will play out. But we'll just have to deal with the waivers. We always deal with the waivers on a case-by-case basis. There's no block singular way of dealing with them. They're all really on a case-by-case basis, and we'll do the same thing this year. If you live in Sunnyvale or Los Altos or Palo Alto, Menlo Park, that area, Foothill and Palo Alto are not offering NJB this year. And since they're not offering it, you won't need a waiver to come and play West San Jose. You can just sign up and we can just take you. There's no waiver necessary because they're not offering NJB. Those particular chapters not offering NJB. So now you settled the boundary issue. You signed your child up. Where are you signing your kid up at? What are you signing your kid up for? You go through registration on the website. You have to choose a level. If your child's kindergarten, second grade, they're going to be in our rookie program. Our rookie program is co-ed. It's an in-house league. Most chapters don't have a rookie program in which they will play games. They might have trainings or workouts, or they might do some scrimmages here and there where they give the kids pennies, but they don't have actual games. We're one of the few chapters that has actual games. And so for that reason, we don't have a boundary restriction when it comes to rookies. So the boundary won't apply to you if your child is in K through second grade. They can just come and sign up and be placed on one of our teams. We'll hold an open workout for the rookies in October. So we'll bring all the rookies together. They'll play with each other for about an hour or so. We'll do some drills. The reason we do this is to kind of evaluate the players to see how good they are. And then we place them on teams. We don't allow the coaches that are coaching rookies to pick the teams. We try to take into account carpools, classmates, things like that. But very quickly, what'll happen is players that are friends with other players will tend to be some of the better players in the league. And so you can really have a stacked team, and it's not a fun situation for anyone. I've done rookies for 3 years, and it's a very delicate process to choose teams, because if you put one player on a team or two players on a team that are dominant, a team will have a hard time even getting a shot off, because one player will be able to guard 4 or 5 guys on the floor at one time. It's just not a fun experience. So we have taken the process over as far as forming teams, so that we try to make the teams as balanced as we can. The rookies are coached by parent volunteers. There's one practice every Saturday, and the games, which begin in December, will be on Sundays. Depending on how many teams we get, that'll determine how many games we play, because we play as many games as our gym time allows, our gym contract. And so we can end up playing 12, 14 games in a season. We can end up playing 6 or 8. It just depends on how much time we have. There may be times where we play double headers or more than one game on a Sunday. And I think depending on how long the season goes, we might have a game a week in which we have to play games on Saturdays. I think last year, the last time we had a season, we played a game on Saturday because we ran into Super Bowl weekend, and they don't play games in NJB on Super Bowl Sunday. So we had to move the games to Saturday. The players will be divided into 2 levels. The first level is second graders mostly. We will have some third graders who are super developmental that will play down into rookies, and they'll be on that top level team or that one level group. They'll play on the 10-foot hoop, and then the kindergartners and mostly for first graders will play on the 8-foot hoops. And those teams will not play against each other. L1 teams will play other L1 teams. L2 teams will play other L2
你俾先生呢個
if for whatever reason we don't get enough players,
Vincent 唔該俾拎老師。
can you put your thing on mute? If for whatever reason we don't get enough players, then we'll adjust and we'll, we have a training program kind of set up as a alternative, but we'll deal with that if it comes to it. I'm looking at the registrations, the numbers look pretty good, but we still want to get to a few more players. We can hold about 80 players in our rookie program. So, okay, let's see. If your child is in 3rd through 8th grade, which is the bulk of our program, when you register, you have to register for just division. That's what you register for. Division is not co-ed, so you'll choose boys or girls. Divisions are split into 3 sections. There's 2 grades per section. You see the grades listed here: 7th, 8th grade for D1, 5th, 6th grade for D2, 3rd, 4th grade for D3. And again, division registration is based on boundaries. So you check it. We'll check it as well to make sure that you're in the right area, the right place, because we do have to, particularly for AllNet, which we'll discuss, we do have to get the roster certified by the section office. And so we have to make sure that the players are playing in the right areas. So when you sign your player up, you'll choose your division, and from there, you'll just wait until the evaluations happen. Each player must participate in player evaluations. Players will be drafted onto teams, although the draft process will be run a lot differently this year, in part due to COVID, in part due to just changes we're making as a chapter. Players will be able to try out for multiple competition levels based on their performance at the evaluation. Those competition levels are AllNet, competitive division, and recreational division. Let me just say very quickly about this. There's a lot of players that play AAU. I coach personally with the San Jose Spartans. And so I have players that I coach currently on my San Jose Spartans team that I want to play AllNet as well. While we don't have pre-formed teams, absolute 100% pre-formed teams, what we are allowing coaches to do this year and teams to do is to group in a larger number than we've allowed in the past. Normally what would happen on the division side is coaches could only hold their child and an assistant coach's child. That's all they could have on their team. That's all they were guaranteed. We're changing that this year. We're changing that largely because of COVID. We're changing it because it's an outdated model, and it's not a model that we think produces the best West San Jose basketball teams. But what we don't allow our coaches to do, and will not allow our coaches to do, is box themselves in by saying, I'm just going to take this whole team, and then they're not open to any other new players that they might not have seen before, because that also causes a lot of problems down the road. So we will still hold the draft when the coaches see the draft list. Many of the players will already be allotted to teams, and then the coaches essentially will be selecting players that haven't been chosen as of yet. It's up to the coach how many players they hold. And again, this is a change from the way we normally do this, but this is the way we're going to do it on the division level. For AllNet, AllNet is the most competitive division offered by NJB. Is kind of similar to AAU. The most advanced players usually participate and try out for AllNet. AllNet is offered 4th through 8th grade for both boys and girls. For this year, 7th and 8th grade boys will be what's called an open division. The girls has been open division for a few years. Essentially what it means is that pre-formed teams can play on the AllNet side. And so we can have pre-formed teams, as I was just discussing, and those teams can come in all together as one group. the most important thing to note on that is that there's no boundary restrictions for those players. So if those players live out of district, they will not have to get a waiver in order to participate on that boys or girls on that team. All right, and again, we'll discuss this a little more with the coaches as we go along, and as we get a little closer to the workout. After play, another change we're making this year is that we're going to hold all of the players in one evaluation up front. The way it's been done previous years is everyone registers, and then players who want to come out and try out for AllNet come out and try out, and then other players that don't come out for AllNet or are not chosen for the teams are then to come out for a division evaluation. We're going to do it in reverse. We're going to evaluate all of the players first. Every player that's registered is going to be evaluated by all of the coaches, whether the coach is an AllNet coach, a competitive division coach, or a recreational division coach. They'll all be at the same initial evaluation. The AllNet coaches will then invite players to an AllNet tryout. And those players will come out to the AllNet tryout, and then the coaches will choose their players for AllNet from that particular tryout. There is an additional cost to play AllNet. I believe it's an additional $150, and that $150 gets you 3 additional games. It gets you a full court practice and a half court practice in a week. And also the coaches also have priority when it comes to scheduling practices, and then if we have additional gym time that's available. Competitive division is a new division this year. Essentially, it's replacing AllNet level 2. You can see the divisions is laid out here: 7th and 8th boys and girls, 5th and 6th boys and girls, 3rd and 4th boys and girls. After the AllNet teams are formed, then the competitive division coaches will invite players to their competitive division tryout, and they'll follow the same process as AllNet. They'll choose their players. Those players, a little different than AllNet, those players will then be put on the draft sheet, and those coaches will participate in that draft. Most of the players that they'll be choosing are players that they already have that are allotted to them, but there will be other players that they maybe didn't know, hadn't seen before, didn't realize lived in our chapter. And it's also a possibility that they could lose a player or two because some other chapter won't waive them, and so they'll have to replace a player that they're missing. We'll probably do the draft online. We probably won't come together because of the pandemic, but again, more details will follow on that. The competitive, there is also an additional cost for the competitive division. I don't have the cost in front. I think it's $75 additional, I believe, but please don't quote me on that. It's that cost is on our website as well. Competitive divisions will get 2 half-court practices per week. They'll also have that second level priority for gym time and for scheduling. The competitive level teams usually also have non-parent coaches, and those non-parent coaches are usually paid a stipend. And so if they are paid a stipend, then the parents fund that stipend. Same thing for basically any of the coaches, with the exceptions of our rookie program. All right. Our recreational division is the standard NJB division. If you've played NJB before and you've played division before, this is the standard setup. There are no pre-formed teams set up on the recreational side. If you have a player that has a ton of activities going on outside of basketball, they're not able to make practices a lot of times, or they're really just kind of new to the game, they're really just kind of beginners, they just want to play for fun, or you just want them to have an activity to do where they get some exercise and are able to interact with other kids, this is going to be the division that you want to sign your children up for. There'll be 1 practice per week. Most of the teams will most likely practice on Saturday, and then you'll have your game on Sunday. These coaches will really push to have coached by parent volunteers. We would prefer not to have non-parent coaches coaching these teams. If there is a non-parent coach, we'd have to provide them a stipend. then the parents will have to provide that for the coaches. But again, this is meant to be recreational. The reason why Section has come up with this rule is because NJB over the years has taken a hit, in large part because there are a lot of players that sign up and the parents are new to basketball or they're new to the commitment level, and the kids just don't they're not as committed as some of the other kids that might play the more competitive basketball, and so it makes it a very difficult team to coach, because you might have kids that never show up for practice but they show up for the games. I've coached a couple of division teams, and I've had that experience a couple of times where players just had a lot of things going on and couldn't show up for practice. And so it's tough for them to learn what's going on. When they show up for games, you have to play them. There's a requirement of playing time. And so it's very difficult for them. It's very difficult for the other players. And it's not the best experience in the world. And it's led to a lot of coaches and programs doing what they can to try and stack their teams and try to avoid that issue. And so this is Section's way of dealing with that, to separate recreation and competitive division. So halfway through the season, we'll have what's called Division All-Stars. So the players that are really excelling on their division teams will be nominated by their coaches to try out for an all-star team. The coaches that have the best record at the D1, D2, and D3 level halfway through the season will be chosen as the all-star coaches. And they will choose their teams. Those all-star teams will practice, usually starting at the end of January, and those teams will practice twice a week. And they don't play a league, they play a tournament, and the tournament starts essentially at the end of February. I don't think they finalized the date of the tournament yet, but the tournament starts at the end of February. The final division that we're offering is Next Level Prep, which is our high school program. Our high school program, as you can see, we have two levels, level 1 and level 2. Level 1 is 11th and 12th grade boys. Level 2 is 9th and 10th grade boys. Unfortunately, at this time, they don't offer girls to play. I don't know. I did ask them if girls would be allowed to sign up for this league, but it's always been an all boys league to this point. And really, it's because they can't get enough girls to sign up to make a league. They haven't been able to do it. And so if there's girls that want to play on the high school team, I'm absolutely fine with signing them up. I have no issue with that at all. In fact, I would love to see it. There are no boundary restrictions for Next Level Prep. And pre-form teams are welcome. In fact, they're encouraged. A lot of the kids will kind of band together and get their friends together and come out and play. We do have players that sign up that are not affiliated with a team. And so we have an open kind of workout for those players. We encourage the coaches that are going to be coaching those teams to come out and watch those players. And then, choose those players for their teams. If they don't choose them, then we'll just place those players on the team. The season is 6 games, should be 8 games, could be as little as 6, but it should be 8 games, really dependent on how many teams sign up. And the season will start January 5th. The season used to start in December, but they're starting it a little bit later. Most NLP teams are coached by parent volunteers. Really would prefer to not have a non-parent coach for these teams. But again, if there is a non-parent coach, then we'll have to pay that coach, and that's parent funded. The teams can have more than 10 players. There's no mandatory playing time. We did have a player, the last league we had, who had played at a private school, and he also played NJB. I think most of the public leagues do not allow players to play both on a school team and a rec team, like an NJB team. I think you just have to ask your school or your, like the whatever league they play in, if it's allowed. Because as I said, we did have a private school player that did that a couple of years ago. But our understanding is kids cannot play for their high school team and also play for NJB. So you might want to check that out before signing up. If you sign your child up and then find out that they can't be on both, like they make their high school team, we certainly can refund you for that. excuse me, move on to talk about board positions that we have, volunteer positions that we have available. Excuse me, NJB is a parent-run volunteer organization. All of us are that volunteer are not paid for our positions, but we do play an important, essential role with guiding the program forward. We have pretty much every position available on the board right now, in large part because most of the folks that were on the board are their children no longer play NJB. Either they're in high school or the children are playing some other type of program. So we were already in a position before the pandemic where we were going to have to replace a bunch of positions on the board. But now we're at the point where it's just really 3 of us, I think, right now that are on the board that are running everything. So we have voting positions and non-voting positions available. Here are some of the all the positions essentially that are available. Right now, I'm serving as most of these, but right now I'm serving as the president. That's my official role. We have a website coordinator, but he doesn't have a child in the program anymore. His name's Nanda. You guys have probably interacted with him a bunch. He's definitely been a godsend because he's helped us transition to a new website and some kind of easier applications to use. But I'd like to replace him because he's definitely done his work. We also have a scheduling coordinator, but all these other positions are open. All these other positions, we need help and people that can participate. I will tell you that I started NJB coaching high school, and then from there I went on to become the high school coordinator. I've coached on all levels of NJB, all net, division, rookies, and then I became the president after the most recent president was finished with her. I think she served for 2 years, and then I became the president. And now we're kind of at the point where it's time to kind of bring in some new folks to help run this program and bring it along. So, see something you're interested in here, you can go to the website and you'll be able to read the little descriptions about what are required for the positions. All of the positions, and basically I've done them all. They all are, they really require no more than like an hour of your time every week. It's really just emails. The other thing, it's a little busier around this time and around October because we need people to come out and help run the tryouts or kind of run some of the events that we do at the beginning of the season. But there's not a ton of time that's spent. I think probably the treasurer probably spends the most time outside of the president and the chapter director. We also have a meeting monthly, which we'll pick up again starting next month. We used to meet at a pizza place, but again, with the pandemic, we'll probably still continue to do the meetings over Zoom until we're comfortable or to a place where we can really get to those spots. So one of the new positions that I really would like to add is for volunteers this year is I would like for people to volunteer to be a scorekeeper or a clock operator during the game. So when your child's playing in a game, you would sit at the table and either keep the official scorebook or you would do the clock. And we'll have training sessions on both of those things to help you out. We'll also have a sign-up sheet so you know exactly which game and which week you're signing up for. You certainly can do more games. We've always had paid positions. We've always paid people to do that. And I think that sometimes we have youngsters that do those jobs and they're not as professional as we would want them to be. Most of them have been great, but we have had problems and issues with kids. And I would like to get away from that. If we don't have enough volunteers to fill the game schedule, then we will have to hire folks, and we'll do that. And we obviously will want to hire a gym manager anyway that will be there for the bulk of the day and to make sure that the site is being run properly. But I would like to have volunteers sign up to be scorekeepers for these games. These are only for the games that are played in our home gyms, which are Monroe Middle School, Rolling Hills Middle School, and Campbell School of Innovation. So, okay, let's see. Yeah, so we'll train you on how to do that. Really quickly, just want to talk about the free throw-a-thon. We've, obviously with the pandemic, the cost of a lot of things around here have gone up. The cost of our expenses from the gym time to the uniforms, the equipment, everything has gone up. So we will be doing a free throw-a-thon this year. Essentially, what a free throw-a-thon is it's a fundraiser in which kids get people to sponsor them to see how many free throws they can make out of whatever number we choose to shoot, whether it's 50 or 100, and they pay a certain amount of money based on the number of free throws they make. These costs go directly into West San Jose's program. We're a nonprofit. No one takes a salary from this position. Every dollar that we take in gets put back into the program, but we do need a little bit of help this year. And so we'll be holding this free throw-a-thon. So I want to make everyone aware of that. I believe we have it on the calendar for November 20th and 21st. It really takes about a half an hour of practice time. It doesn't take a huge amount of time to do it. We will be offering prizes to the person who raises the most money. We'll give them a nice little bag of gifts. And to the team that raises the most money, we'll get them specially made printed t-shirts. So I believe that's actually all I have. So I know I've sped through a lot of that. As I said, I will put this on. I guess YouTube, and put it on the website so you guys can refer to it. But now I kind of see some chats here. I do want to open it up for questions. If folks want to ask questions, you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
And this is thank you for the wonderful presentation. I think just wanted to confirm, so all the players need to register and appear for a tryout. First, the all-net coaches pick their team, then competitive coaches pick their team, and the remaining players are slotted in the recreational division league. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And what if like the players who are slotted, like my son has been playing AAU for a few years now, and he only want to do the all-net or competitive league. What if he doesn't get picked up by one of those and instead get classified into recreational league, and we don't want to continue with the program?
So thank you for your question. I think that the options that player would have at that point would be to see if they could play for a different chapter, see if the other chapters have open all-net positions or open competitive division positions. I will be very surprised if a player that has the skill and ability to play competitive or all-net is not chosen for that team. Usually the conflict that we have and have had in the past is that players really want to play all-net and they don't want to play division because of the reasons that I described. And it will be very interesting to see if the competitive division versus the recreational division solves that problem. The other thing I will say is that there's no limit to the number of teams that we can put into the competitive division, and there's no limit to the number of teams that we can put into the all-net division. So I firmly believe, and I feel incredibly comfortable that we'll be able to accommodate every player that wants to play in the competitive division. Maybe not all-net, but definitely in the competitive division.
Got it. Thank you. That's very helpful. And yeah, I mean, good to hear that you have been a Spartans coach as well. That's where my son has been doing it. And we actually got an email from them earlier today reminding us to attend the Zoom call. So that's how we're coming through.
Oh, well, no, I'm very glad that you came. It's a very difficult thing because so many of the coaches that coach Spartans also do NJB. Our uniforms are very similar. Like everything is similar. And in large part is because Dino, who runs Spartans, really is the life of NJB. I mean, I wouldn't be here. This program wouldn't be here if not for the commitment that he made. What we're trying to do now is to try and make a break. And so because there's, we have to, NJB has to be open to players that are not just players that are with the Spartans. And I think as good as it's been to have the consistency of those players and the coaches, and I've taken advantage of it, and I have a team this year that I'm probably going to carry a lot of those players over. We also have to be open to everyone in the area, everyone in our district that wants to play. We don't want them to feel like they have to play Spartans in order to be chosen for a competitive team at West San Jose. I definitely understand what you're saying, and I definitely appreciate that you're here. And it's a very delicate dance that we're doing and that we do every year.
Thank you. No, this is very helpful. And yeah, no, I mean, this is awesome. And this actually aligns very well because Spartans is only fall and we're looking for a winter's league in that sense. This will really fill up the gap very well. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you. Does anyone else have questions or?
Yes, I have a question. And I apologize if this was answered earlier. I joined late. This is Michael Rich. And regarding the girls all net, I have a group of girls that could form a preform team. On that basis, do they still need to go to the tryouts, the girls that have a preform team for all net?
So really, it's more of an evaluation than a tryout, and the language is very tedious, so I apologize for that. But yeah, I mean, we still want the players to go through it, and the reason why is because what will happen oftentimes, and what has happened in the past, is players can't make the tryouts, they can't make the evaluations, and really don't even try. And when we're choosing players, literally, we're choosing players off a sheet, and we have no idea who they are. We haven't seen them before.
Understood.
And so while it necessarily doesn't apply to you because you know who the players are, from the league's perspective, it helps to have all of the players go through the exact same process, which would be the evaluation. And I think it would also be good for you to see how your girls will kind of match up with the other players that are in our chapter, because it kind of gives you an idea for what you might expect to see throughout the league.
So I agree with that. So thank you for that. So bring the girls through the all net tryouts or evaluations, sorry. And then as far as forming that team, then a parent coach would take care of the coach, uniforms, practice, etc. Correct? They're pretty much solo on their own.
What grade are your girls?
Sixth grade team.
Okay. So I think it's important to note one thing, which is that when the players come through the evaluation, boys and girls, there's a standard that they have to fit in order to play the certain level. And so we can't just have a team that says we're going to be an all-net team, because they have to be able to compete on that level. I don't know, I'm sure your team will be fine. But it's important for us to understand that some people historically have gotten kind of stuck on the title of being able to say they play all net, and they put out a team that is not incredibly competitive. I don't like putting out teams with West San Jose that are not competitive. And so what you'll be coming to is the initial evaluation. And if at the evaluation, you assess that there's no other players that you want to look at, there's no other players that you want to see, I wouldn't even see it a necessity of going through the all-net tryout. If you already have your team preformed and there's nobody out there that you want to take another look at. But we do want to see that team on the court at some point to make sure that those girls are going to be able to compete at the all-net level, if that makes sense.
No, it does. It does. So I'm definitely going to encourage the girls to go to that evaluation. But again, assuming they're assessed to be competitive at that level, then at that point, the team pretty much operates solo, meaning their own uniform.
No, we have different positions as far as volunteers that will handle a lot of the aspects like scheduling, uniforms, equipment, that type of thing. So no, you're not sent out on your own. You're part of the NJB program. Okay. And so we want you and your assistant coach to just focus on coaching. And then we get you we get a team parent to volunteer to help with the, with the updates. We have constant communication with the coaches so that they understand expectations of the league, expectations of West San Jose. We also stay in touch with you so we know what you need. and we make sure we're getting you the things that you need. You also have a girls player agent, and we have a boys player agent, which are designed to deal with issues and conflict that might exist throughout the team. So no, you have a full support system here with NJB, with West San Jose. You won't be sent on your own to do everything.
Does that also include gym scheduling as well?
Yes, it does.
Okay, thank you. This is very helpful. So
Yes,
next
sir.
step would be to have the girls register for the evaluation in October.
Yes, and I will. I sent out an email to coaches that coached in the past to see who was interested. I've been scrubbing the registration list to see people who indicate that they're interested in coaching. If you can send me an email, and anyone else on this call that's interested in coaching, if they can send me an email to let me know, I'll add you to the coaches list, because as we put the evaluation schedule and everything together, then you'll know exactly what's going on. You'll know exactly where you need to be, what day and time, and we also lay out what the evaluation is going to look like. So you'll know exactly what the drills are, everything like that. So just, if you can, send me an email and let me know that you're going to be a coach, and I'll make sure to add you to that list.
Can you put your email in the chat box, Aaron?
Yeah, not strong on the computer, but I think I can hit the chat box, I think. I'll give shorter answers too, because I know we're getting late on time, but I'm fine with answering whatever questions folks need answered. So, if you have a question, I see like hands up and stuff like that. Alan, can you go ahead? Alan Fong? You gotta unmute yourself. No, Alan. How about Farouk? Do you have a question, Farouk?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Oh, is that Alan?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had a little trouble getting on the unmute there.
No problem.
All right. Hey, I had a couple questions. So right now we're on the 5th grade playing Spartan basketball. If we do the all net with a preform team, and we come to the evaluation, right? If for some reason there is a winter season that will do tournaments, will that conflict? I mean, is it possible to do both?
So I've done both in the past, because I've done both with both of the all net teams that I've done. I have played AAU tournaments on Saturdays and played our all net games on Sundays. It really is just dependent on it's dependent on how much time your parents have and want to commit to this, and it's dependent on how much time you have. What I would say, and what I would not suggest, is signing up for NJB and Spartans, because I think that's probably a cost that you don't really need to because you're not gaining anything, because NJB is already offering you 2 days a week practice, and so you're probably not going to practice 2 additional days with the Spartans. Like, you're not going to practice 4 days a week, and so essentially what you're paying for in that instant is tournaments. And I don't think that, at least from my experience, there wasn't a lot of value in that. So essentially what I did was I collected $10 from each parent on the weekends that we played AAU tournaments. So we played on Saturday, we played 2 games at Mission College or 2 games somewhere. I just collected $10 from each parent, and that paid the fee for that. Because, again, they do have to pay the fees to participate in all that. Or,
So you're saying, so let's say hypothetically, a Spartan team agrees to play, the preform team agrees to play in NJB, right? Use the NJB practices, but then for Spartan, you don't need to practice and just do the tournaments. Is that what I'm?
That's what I've done in the past. We transitioned from a fall AAU team to a winter NJB team. Nothing else changed for us. We practiced the same days. We did all that. It was just a different cost for the parents. Parents paid one cost in September, and then they paid the cost to play NJB. And then obviously we transitioned to the spring and played that way. I don't think you have to specifically register. I understand the question you're asking. I don't think you have to set aside registration for both. I think you just have to set a schedule with your parents that works for them and make sure that they understand that there's some weekends where they're going to play games on Saturdays and some weekends where you're just going to have your league games on Sundays.
So if the team wants to play a tournament as Spartans, then they just register and you just collect it as they play the tournament.
That's the way I did it.
Oh, okay.
That's how I did it.
I understand.
Yeah,
okay.
That's how I did it. All right.
And then just a general comment, because we played pre-COVID, we played the division, and I kind of like what you're doing with the recreation versus competitive division. But one of the things that was challenging when my son played in the third grade competitive division at the time when it was grouped up was that there was a couple of rules. I don't know if I'm getting too specific, but when you rebound the ball, you have to outlet it. Rather than making it a turnover, you guys should just have them take it out on the out of bounds. Like stop play and just have them take it down rather than the warning. You know, you give that warning. And then
well, that's a national rule. And again, those rules will not exist in the competitive division. They still will exist in the recreational, but in the competitive division, those rules will not exist this year.
Oh, but this year you guys separated that, right?
Right. So those types of rules will not exist in the competitive division.
Oh, okay. And then the opposing coach selecting two players, is that also a national rule?
Yes, but again, that rule will not exist because they won't penalize you for having less than 10 players. So there won't be a situation where you have to shoot free throws at the beginning.
We got penalized for that, and we lost the game, and the boys were heartbroken because
we have a lot of participants and with a lot of questions. So can we keep this to whatever you want to get answered so we can move on to the next person?
Got it. All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, Ram, you want to go ahead?
Sorry, I didn't mean to be coarse, but
no worries.
Whoever wants to go next is fine.
Okay, Ellen, do you want to go next?
Yes. So I have the question. We are live outside of the boundary area for the West San Jose NJB. So if you are saying if we register for the all-night team, there's no waiver required for boys. So one boy is in the 8th grade, another boy is in the 4th grade.
Sorry, so I missed your question. What is the question?
So we live outside of the West San Jose area.
Live outside the boundary. Okay.
Yes.
Do you know which?
If we register for the West San Jose NJB all-night team, so we do not require waiver from our chapter.
Well, the 8th grader, no, if he's on an all-net team. The 4th grade, yes, he will have to get a waiver because the open division is not for 4th grade. It's only for 7th and 8th grade. So the 8th grader, if he ends up being on an all-net team, no, he would not need the waiver. But the 4th grader would need a waiver. Which chapter do you live in?
We live in the Square NJB.
Which one?
Square.
Oh, okay. I mean, you can reach out to that chapter now and see if they'll allow you to, just kind of wave over. I haven't had any interaction with any other chapter directors, so I don't know what their feeling is right now. You can certainly reach out. But yeah,
yes,
if
I will.
Okay.
One more question. Wait, one more question, Coach. So is registration fee transferable? I mean, if we registered for them already, can we transfer the registration fee to West San Jose
You
NJB?
cannot, no, you cannot transfer it. We're separate entities. So like they'd have to refund you, or if you were
Okay.
going from us to somebody else, we'd have to refund you.
Got it. Thank you. That's all my questions.
No problem. Ram, you want to ask your question?
Yes. So my daughter plays 8th grade AAU ball for Spartans.
Okay.
And we want to join AllNet, but if we are not able to form a team before joining in and we come in as an individual, will you just assess the skill set as an individual and then put her in the right team?
Well, the coaches will draft the teams. So the coach will make that evaluation.
Okay. So
Yeah.
if all the coaches are from preformed teams, will they be inclined to pick someone from the outside, or?
You know, I think that you're asking the $1 million question. It is, you know, I've been around NJB enough to see them come up with some really funky rules as to how they pick the all-net teams. All I ask of our coaches is that they justify their pick. If you want to pick a player and you want to take a player because you have some affiliation to that player for whatever reason, you know, that's up to that coach. I personally would never take a player that I don't think I wouldn't take a player that's not as good as a player that's still sitting out there. I would not do that. I would take the best player available, and I personally have done it. I've had players that I had on my AAU team that I didn't put on my all-net team because they were better players that came out for all-net. And so I hope that everybody follows that process to be as competitive as possible. It doesn't always happen, but I think the fix to that this year is that we're offering more teams at each level of each division. And so even if your daughter isn't selected for that particular team, then they have a chance to be on another highly competitive team.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
And thanks for the very precise presentation. It was very nice. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Hey, Coach, I'm sorry, I need to drop off, but I did have a question about 5th grade girl and my 6th grade boy. For the 5th grade girls, are there going to be non-all-net teams available?
The last that I heard from them, from the section, girls registration was a little slow, but everybody's going to keep registration open all the way up until December if they have to.
Oh, okay, and then
we're going to do the same.
Okay, and then for boy, my 6th grader, the question would be, so are there a certain number of competitive and recreational teams already formed, or how will we determine?
No, there are no preformed teams now. It's just we're opening up the opportunity for coaches that are coming in to select more players or hold more players than we've allowed in the past. And that's directly because of a lot of the coaches are Spartans coaches or other AAU coaches. And so they have kids that they want to keep together throughout the year, but there's no set preformed team. It's just the coaches will be able to hold certain players. And again, I stress to you guys that every coach will go out there and they will find a player that they didn't know and they will be tempted to take because the player could play. So I think I'm answering your question in respect that there's no one's going to walk into the tryout saying this team is already formed. It's when we sit down to form the teams, whoever that coach invites to the all-net tryout, whoever that coach puts on their roster, that's when that team is formed. It's not formed prior to that.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I was talking more about the competitive versus recreational.
Same thing with competitive. It's the same process. Okay. So until the roster is formed, there's no pre-formation. But if a coach holds 10 players because that's what they want to do, that's
go for it. Okay, thank you so much.
Hey, Coach, I had a question. So I had registered for the Willow Glen NJB because we fall under the Willow Glen chapter, but I got this email for this Zoom. So I'm kind of a little bit confused. Is it because we're kind of being moved to this particular chapter, or how does that work? Since I didn't get an email.
It could be that your kid plays on the Spartans, maybe.
No. So this is the first time that we are registering for NJB.
Right, but you said you got the Zoom. Did you get the Zoom because your kid is on the Spartans AAU team?
No, so he's not.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't know. I just don't know how other chapters are working right now. So what you want to do is clear with them first that it's okay for you to come to us if that's what you can do.
Yeah, no, I specifically don't have any preference. I'm okay with, just going to the Willow Glen. Only thing I was kind of surprised. So this is the first time I'm going through this. So I kind of assumed it was a common session. So so if there's a contact, I'll probably reach out to them. Is that that I need to do?
Yeah, if we can help you with anything, let me know, please.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Andrea?
Hey, Coach.
Hold on one second. 1 second.
Hi,
Andrea,
this is
you had a
Andrea.
question? Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. I just had a really basic question on time and location for Division 3 and then for practices and also for rookies.
Just as far as where it'll be and everything, is that what you mean?
Yeah, where and when?
So we use Campbell, Rolling Hills, and Monroe. The practice schedules will not be set until the teams are set and the coaches choose what they want. I can tell you that for rookies, we've always done the practices on Saturday mornings at Campbell School of Innovation. And then the games have always been on Sunday mornings or kind of like early afternoon. Yeah, but as far as the practices, we won't know what the practices are until the teams are formed. So that won't be until late October, beginning of November.
Okay, but it would just be any one of the three. And do you have kind of a general time for practices? Like what if there are more popular days?
So
I'm trying to get an idea of when practice would land.
Absolutely. If it's Monday through Friday, we have Campbell. I need to confirm this, but we have Campbell from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. If it is Monroe, it's 7 to 10 p.m. And usually we have Campbell. Usually we have Monroe and Rolling Hills on Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And then we have Campbell from 8 to 5 or 8 to 6 on Saturday. So unfortunately, it's a wide range, I know, but it'll fall in that time frame, somewhere around there.
Okay, thank you. Is the so the time is determined by the coach or determined by the league? Because I know it's about gym time.
The coach will have to select the time within the gym time that we have.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you for your question. Bo, do you have a question, Bo?
Yeah, thank you, Coach. Thank you for staying late and great presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah, question regarding my boy in the 3rd, 4th grade group, and he has been playing recreational for about half a year, and in fact, he's joining the 4th season NJB this Sunday. So we are exposed to this opportunity of West San Jose NJB for the winter season, as well as the Cupertino hoops. And we are new to any of the winter seasons. Is there any guidance you could provide in terms of how to select one versus the other in terms of consideration factors?
I mean, not that I would ever, I mean, I know I'm with this program. I would say that the competition level is higher in this program than Cupertino Hoops. I think that Cupertino Hoops is a very solid program that's been around for a while, but we get a lot of players that play that league and end up coming to us because they look for something that's a little more competitive. But I don't think you can go wrong either way. I think what you're looking for is the best situation for your kid. If a lot of his friends play or her friends play Coop Hoops, then that might be the better look for you. From our perspective, our goal on the all-net level and the division level is to put out the most competitive teams that we can. And so we're shifting and changing a lot. I don't know enough about how Coop Hoops runs internally to know how many changes they've made because of COVID, but historically, it's been a well-run league. It's just not as competitive as our league has been.
Got it. Very helpful. Thank you. Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir. Natty Nutman?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Great. Thanks. So I have two questions. One is my boys are trying for the high school team. If they get accepted, is there any refund? And the second question is, oh, yes, there is.
Yeah, we if they make their high school team and they can't participate, yeah, we'd absolutely refund.
Okay, good to know. And my second question is, they are twins. Can we guarantee that they will play for the same team?
Yes.
Okay,
We can
thank
absolutely
you.
guarantee that.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, sir. Is it Danielle? Danielle Rowe?
Yes, hi, thank you.
Yeah.
I can see online that there's a schedule for the evaluation days.
Mhm.
It looks like the 25th, 26th, and 27th. Do they need to come to all 3 days? We're new to all this. So he's, my son's in 4th grade.
Yeah, no problem. No, they do not need to come to all 3 days. We'll lay out. I was waiting for our gym time to be confirmed because it hasn't been confirmed yet.
Okay.
So once that's done and I know exactly what times that we have, we'll lay out the schedule by division and we'll post that.
So then you would send us an individual, like your slot is around this time. This is when you come.
It'll be a general email that we put out, but it'll lay out the
Okay.
whole schedule. Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
And we still have a ton of time, but yeah, we'll absolutely lay that out. Absolutely. So there'll
Perfect.
be
Thank-
and they'll have the opportunity for the main workout. And then as long as the gym time allows, we'll try to do a makeup too if they can't make the initial day.
Got it. We'll make those work. Thank you so much.
Good. Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions or?
How many online teams are there going to be for the 5th grade?
We'll take as many as can compete. As far as I know, there's no limit to the number of teams that we can submit to section. So we'll put in as many teams as coach feels like they can compete at that level.
No, sorry, I meant the online team.
All net?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because in the past year there are 2 teams.
Right. So this year, from my understanding, there's no limit to the number of teams that we can present for all net. So we can present more than 2 teams if we wanted to per grade level. If we wanted to do that, we could. They just have to play level 1. They have to play top level.
Got you. Thank you.
Sure. Does anyone else have any questions? All right. If you do have a question that you think about, please, as I said, send me an email. Or you can also check out the website. If you're new to us and you're thinking about registering, we would love to see you register. You can go to the website and fill out your registration. We are changing the uniforms this year, so everybody will have to buy a new uniform. But I think cost-wise, our league is pretty reasonable, especially compared to some of the AAU costs and everything that we see around here. Does anybody else have any questions before we take this away? Or Chris, do you have a question?
Yeah, I just had a question about a cutoff for registration. Is there going to be like absolute date for cutoff for registration?
No, your phone's breaking up a little bit, so I didn't catch your question.
Is there going to be a firm cutoff for registration, particular date?
Are you asking for an ending date, like a closing date for registration?
Yes.
No, we'll keep registration open until we've hit our number of teams or number of players. I think I looked at the last time I looked at registration, I think we had 125 players registered, and we have space essentially for up to like 350 players. So we'll keep registration open until either until the practices start or until we fill up, which I don't think we're going to fill up this year. So.
Oh, okay. Is that also true for the girls 5 to 6 grade?
Yeah. I mean, ideally we don't want to end up with 13 or 14 players because it's not enough to make 2 teams. So once we get a little further into this, we'll start to maybe shut down aspects of registration if we reach a certain number of players. But for the last I looked at it, we still have plenty of space on all the.
Thank you.
So, all right. Anyone else have any questions? Or?
Yeah, I have one more. You mentioned earlier that you don't have a set practice schedule yet. Do you have a sense on when people would find out?
Unfortunately, I don't see how we could do a practice schedule until the teams are formed. So I
Okay,
don't
so
see
it's
how
after
we could
teams
do
are
one
formed
until-
then?
Yeah, like that week.
Okay.
I mean, I can get an idea once the coaches are set, what days they like. And so like if there are players that kind of are already attached to a coach, then they kind of have an idea, but I don't see how. The good news, I would say, is that we have a month between when we start practicing versus when the games start. And so if we need to shift some stuff around, we have a month to do that.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. Any other questions from anyone or?
So Aaron, one last one.
Sure.
What's the maximum amount of number on freeform?
Well, for all net, you can have 12 players. I'm trying to verify with competitive division because I thought when I talked to the section head, he told me that they could have more than 10 players, but there's also a guaranteed playing time rule in the first half, or at least he said there was going to be. So I don't know how, if you have more than 10 players, that you can guarantee playing time for more than 10 players. So I need to verify that. But you can have more than 10 for all net, and there's no penalty for having less than 10 for the competitive division. And for the recreational division, it's 10 players.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Anyone else have any questions or? Okay. I will say that I certainly appreciate all of you folks being on. Does anyone have a question or no? No? Okay. I appreciate all you folks being on the call. Again, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to email me. I'll throw my email in the chat again. I think I can do that. Let's see, I'll throw my email in the chat again, just in case you have more questions or whatever. But otherwise, we look forward to seeing everyone this season, and I appreciate you guys being a part of the call. Once this sets up, I'll put it on YouTube, and I'll link it to the website if there's anything you want to look at. But there should be some information on there on the website as well, so a lot of your questions can be answered there. But I appreciate you guys being a part of this, and I hope everybody has a great night.